Now I discuss politics, religion, sex. But you so much want to discuss them. I guess certain holidays give us some permission to start discuss some of these topics. For example, 4th July. And for 4th July, I choose to read this book, Parliament of Horse. This is a political satire in which Rourke try to explain how US government works. This book published in 1992, but still very accurate. I think even in 50, 100 and 200 years, it will be still very accurate. For me, all governments, all politics plus minus the same, and it's not so much global changes going on. This book shows in funny, sarcastic, and cynic ways how government works. The author travels through Washington, attends political events, examines Congress, the president, the court, and federal spending. After mostly disagree with government how it works because the most problem they spend more time to protect their interests instead than solving public problems. Do you know who is a jester? Jester is not only a funny man who tried to make love a king and his people. Jester is only the man who can come to king and tell him truth, while other his people afraid to say something. Jester is a person who has huge influence for the government or kingdom. No one takes him seriously, but he is changing destiny of whole kingdom. So that's the most reason why I choose this book, because only in satiric and funny and cynic way you can understand the truth what's going on in the government. Because no one takes seriously the clowns, no one takes seriously the jesters, no one takes seriously funny people. But in some way they're the most honest, smartest, and important people. So what we have in this book, it's authors talk about many stuff. It's about Congress, about presidents, about president election, about defense police, agriculture topic, about the federal budget, the bureaucracy, the ecologist, social security. He covered in his book a lot of important topics. And we will start with you talk about Constitution. And here's a quote what I enjoy to read. The Constitution is an equally forthright piece of work and quite 21 pages, given the complete operating instruction for a nation of 250 million people. The manual for a Toyota Camry, which only seats 5, is 4 times as long. And thanks to the pro-growth economic policies of the vigorous liberation, not to say completely impotent, Continental Congress, the Constitution is not translated from Japanese. Here in some way I'm agree, in some way I disagree with this, because it is not so many pages for instruction how to rule the country. Of course, it's not so perfect instruction, right? And we, I think, not following them so much because First Amendment, what we have, it's freedom of speech. But in USA, for example, I don't feel freedom to speak everything what I want. Here we have plenty of restriction, right? So I think we already not following First Amendment. That's one what is very upsetting me, because usually I'm that person who is like straight, and I'm usually saying exactly what I think and not always following what I'm saying. So, but in USA you need to careful to be about this. Second Amendment protects the right to keep and bear arms. So you can say is it good or it's not so good for our country. I'm 50-50 because I think that everyone's supposed to have rights to protect himself and his family, right? But also it's of course a lot of dangers. That to be confident of this amendment, I think you need to spend a lot of money, a lot of power. for good education of people, because person without good education with some mental problems, right? What we have plenty of people in America, and you cannot be so confident about your future, even about tomorrow. And when person feel insecurity, there's more chance that you will do something bad. I agree with Second Amendment. We're supposed to have certain conditions that it will serve us for the best, but not to be our curse. And what I a lot of like is that you can change amendments or you can write new one. It depends on the situation in the government. Next, we will talk with you about Republicans and Democrats. Are you Republican or are you Democrat? I'm not sure how it's possible to always stay loyal to one of them because I think it more depends on the candidates from the Republican for Democrat, what they're doing, what they promise to do, what they're saying, right? For me, it's more important. So I'm not so loyal for any of them, and I can switch right away from one to another, right? Because for me, it's more important the influence for the country. But what it's in the book says, the Democrats said, we don't know what's wrong with America, but we can fix it. The Republicans said, there's nothing wrong with America and we can fix that. We had a choice between Democrats who couldn't learn from the past and Republicans who couldn't stop living in it. Between Democrats who wanted to tax us to death and Republicans who preferred to have us die in a foreign war, the Democrats planned to fiddle while Rome burned. The Republicans were going to burn Rome, then fiddle. So we already can see attitude of the author for Democrats and for Republicans. I said before, Republicans or Democrats, no matter what, all of them has their own goals, right? What they want to get, and probably after this they will think about people. So to be loyal to one party for another, I think it doesn't make sense. Both of them have their flaws, and both of them are thinking only about the advantage. So let's to be more objective and think who is them in the right time would be right for us. After also mention Washington DC, anybody in Washington wears some kind of ID tag on a chain around his neck. So that the place looks like the city of lost dogs. One time I visited Washington DC and I was surprised how many sporty people around. They all the time running. No matter what is the time of the day, no matter what is the time of the night, they all the time running, they all the time working, and they all the time wearing suits. In some way, I wasn't so much comfortable with my shorts and top, what is I usually wearing in Florida. When you come to Washington DC, you want to change your clothes for the suit and start run. And in some way, it's more seems so official there, everything that you are inside on the Capitol or in the White House, so that then that you are a tourist and walk around the Washington DC. So for me, Washington DC is not just capital of USA, but probably forever will be the city of the suits, runners, and strict rushed atmosphere. Arthur also mentioned his experience in Congress, and he is sharing a routine of congressman, how it looks his day. He gives some example in the Congress, how they're fighting, how they discuss certain problems, how they try to solve them, and when you read the book, you understand that it's totally chaos. Another that Congress only meets about 145 days per year. Of course, we can talk about all congressmen, right, who works there because some of them are pretty sure lazy and they do something different, right? But some congressmen, they really try to make better our country and to solve some problems. And in general, they are very busy. Every hour during the day, they usually has what to do, some meetings or look for some documents or something else. And usually they started early in the morning and they working until late of the night. And I totally can believe it. And I think people who spend a few weeks in Washington DC, they also could believe it. So we stay in some hotel, and through the windows from the hotel you can see another building, and there was many offices. I remember when I woke up in the morning, I usually open the curtains and I see that people already work there, and I usually wake up at 6 a.m. And when I get to the bed, I usually again look at this office building, and I see that people still working there. And it was already 10-11 p.m. And for me, it was seems that they want to work and do sport, work and do sport. Recently, I heard that somebody say America for the work, for earn money, but other work is for living, and I totally agree. When I learned U.S. history, I had shock how much people work that time, how bad they living. Even in the present days, it's not so much changes. People in general start to better live, but again, why? Because of technologies, because of global progress in the world. But in general, it's a crazy amount how much Americans live in and how much of them has burned out, and they even didn't see it because burnout usually person can see it. He can understand that something wrong, something not right, but it's hard to understand this. But it was interesting that after I looked through a week of congressman mail, and there was more than 700 letters and only 2 notes thank you from the pile. And in some way, of course, it's not nice, right? Because congressmen, they anyway try to do something, they work in something, but we usually don't say thank you. After also mention president, and what we usually know that president has role leadership in the country. Over 300 members of White House, press corps who do nothing but this. Every hour president attends some meetings where he do nothing. For example, author said that he seen how president attend a budget meeting, and they pretend that they listen, but usually they not so much pay attention there because what they can say, right? They usually doesn't have PhD in economics, and a lot of meetings like this, the president there attends them, but usually they do nothing there because they doesn't have knowledge. Personally, me, I think that probably some way to make president more useful. He wouldn't waste his precious time just to attend some useless meetings where he don't do anything. The president is not an ordinary politician trying to conduct the affairs of state as best he can. He is divine priest king, and we Americans worship our state avatar devotee. That is we do until he shows any sign of weakness, any disability, as it were. This is our brief national history. We have shot 4 of our presidents, buried 5 of them to death, impeached 1 and hounded another out of office. And when all else fails, we hold an election and assassinate their characters. Another topic, drugs. It's, I think, a huge problem in the USA. Almost everyone tries some drugs. Personally, Arthur admitted that he tried different kinds of drugs, and during whole his life he tried it, and government doesn't know what to do with this. Police also doesn't know what to do with this. What they say is that they usually take some drug addicted to the jail, and they spend 1 night and afterwards release. And after some police group came to the house where it's supposed to be drugs, and their little boy, he came there and just like like, oh, I'm living here, and he seen his house, and there was very dirty, very messy, and Arthur even mentioned that they in some way happy to come to the jail because in the jail it's much cleaner than in their houses, and better food, and in general there's better than in their house. What is Arthur suggests, and I agree with him, that make drugs illegal, right? I'm enjoying think that all these things what we have, they're supposed to be legal. At least government could make money for this and use this money for make a situation better. Everything what is not allowed, we usually wish to try it. So if it would be legal, probably it would be same amount, maybe it would be less amount to try it. But again, the people usually try drugs not from the good life, right? And maybe government can make money for this and make our life a little bit better. I think person who has food, money, roof, car, friends, and full his life and confident in the future, he will less wanted to try drugs that it will ruin his life. Right? So in some way probably better not fight with drugs, but work with them and try to think how to make better life. Next topic, of course, is topic about poverty in USA, and in some way I agree because in some way I don't quite understand how people survive here because it's not so big salaries here. Average salary is not enough to cover all expenses what you have, and even more in America it's individualism. If in Europe and West Europe where from it's more collective, and USSR is mostly was that you are part of the team, and if you do something wrong, or if you need something, so other people will help you or do something, right? I mean, like it's a different scenario, of course. In USSR, of course, it was pretty better, but in America, I think in some way it's not right because it's hard to be alone, and of course it would be better if government will help you, if family will help you, and if you will be connected with each other, because I think it's only way how to survive in this country. This book shows plenty of topics of what we need to think about, what its government need to think about, and probably they think about this all the time, but they don't do so much to solve these problems because in our country we have plenty of problems, and I think it's even more and more and more became right, and plenty people they have pain, especially with now with all the situations. I see how people they feel very insecure for the future, and with all this crisis and wars and other stuff, how people try to make bunkers, how people try to prepare for apocalypse or something else. And of course, it would be nice that the situation will be a little bit more stable. At least this, right? Already not talk about other topics, but at least it would be a little bit stable the situation that you can make plans for the future. So it's already, I think, will be blessing for us. I highly recommend to read this book. It's easy essays about government, and you will understand how it's, everything works there. It's funny, it's sarcastic. Also, I wanted to say some words about defense of the government. The way you've seen a perfect family, right? It's no exists perfect family. Every family has some problems, some unsolved problems, and for me government is equal to the family, right? Because in every family you have some president, in every family you have people who want something from the president, right? You have judges in your family, right? So government for me is like family, and it's no existed perfect family, so it's of course no existed perfect governments. All governments, all families has their flaws, and what is more important, right, that everyone work with each other. If you not will work with each other, if you not discuss problems, if you not try to solve them, just close your eyes for all these problems. What is usually happened to this family is broke up. So it's what is usually can happen with a government. Look at your family and you understand that this government is kind of the same. So thank you that you've been with me, and see you on my next video, next book.